Welcome to Timeless Mongolia, a journey into the soul of Mongolia, where history, culture, and nature come together in a story like no other. This series invites you to explore Mongolia's vibrant traditions, awe-inspiring landscapes, and the remarkable legacy of Mongolian people. From the boundless steppes to the echoes of ancient empires, we delve into the tales that have shaped Mongolia's identity and continue to inspire the world today. Join us as we uncover the secret, celebrate the triumphs, and embrace the timeless spirit of Mongolia in this captivating exploration of its past, present, and future. I'm your host, Michma Bayersahan. In this episode, we are unraveling the life of one of the history's most remarkable leaders, Genghis Khan, whose empire reshaped civilizations across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. Known worldwide as a mighty conqueror, Genghis Khan's true legacy lies in his vision, resilience, and leadership that Mongolia treasures as its foundation of national identity. Welcome to the very first episode of Timeless Mongolia, where we delve into the history, tradition, and the heritage of Mongolia. Today, we begin our journey with one of the history's most formidable leaders, Genghis Khan. To guide us through this rich history, we are honored to have Dr. Ottmar Yondon, a renowned historian, politician, and diplomat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
One of Genghis Khan's lasting legacies is the economic transformation he fostered under his reign. By ensuring the safety of trade routes and encouraging exchange, he laid the foundation for globalization as we know it. What were Genghis Khan's key contributions to global trade and economic development, and how do this continue to Mongolian society today?
Well, first of all, I would say there are a few consequences that Genghis Khan's military campaigns brought to Asia and to the world as a general. Well, people always concentrate upon the military actions of that period, how big it was conquest, and what bloodshed was it. But if you see afterwards what has been created, it was basically world's largest free trade area that has been created in that time. Arab traveler Ibn Battuta, who traveled from Morocco to Beijing, he wrote that even a single woman with the golden jewelry can travel from Kiev in Ukraine until Beijing and can be unafraid that if anyone would loot them. It was first of all freedom of trade. And if you see the book Silk Roads, and they have cited some interesting example. For example, in the 13th century, tax into Egyptian fort of Alexandria was 20%, whereas from Black Sea to Beijing, it was only 5%. So that was a very low tax that has been levied. And also Mongols created the system of relay stations throughout his empire. And people always think that the relay stations was kind of postal system that was serving Hans. Yes, that is true, but in addition to that, all the trade was linked to the relay stations, because when you travel from Black Sea to Beijing, it's a huge distance, but and you need to go through the deserts, mountains, and everywhere you need to have good guides, to pay these guides and to find the animals which will carry your cattle, which will carry your goods, etc. But with the relay system relay postal system, you don't need them, because in every 30 or 40 kilometers, you know that there is a station. You can go to the station. You don't need a guide for 30 kilometers, and you can get. And when you reach the relay station, you can trade your animal. If your animal has worn out, then you can trade your animal into the fresh animal, and then further travel. You don't need to look for the water wells, because in the relay station people would know what is available around. And also one more thing that people usually miss, because it was, and people do not pay attention, that this relay postal system has played another important role. It added the speed of the trade. If you see the book of the Guillaume de Rubruck, French envoy, traveling for 2 years from Mediterranean to Karakorum, and he writes, on the way back he was sent through the relay postal system, and I think he reached Black Sea port in 3 weeks' time. That was in medieval system speed of teleportation, because in 3 weeks' time reaching from Beijing to the Black Sea port, that's unbelievable speed. So if you can imagine that also the trade was, the speed of the trade has been increased by that period. I would say that it was first free market that has been created by Mongol Hans. Even if you see Marco Polo has written about his visit to Haidu Han's city, Kayalik, Haidu Han's capital. He writes about his daughter, famous daughter, and then he travels from Kayalik to Beijing. And it was a period when there was an internal war going on between Kaidu and Kublai. And these two guys were fighting each other, which lasted another 40 years, but they were allowing trade to go, because Marco Polo was able to go to Kayalik, and from Kayalik to travel to Beijing safely. So that was an interesting part of the Mongol Empire. And it did bring into the unseen exchange of information, unseen exchange of technology, unseen exchange of ideas in terms of spread of religion inside the empire, but also it brought unseen exchanges of diseases. When you talk about Black Death as spreading through the Silk Road inside the empire.
as we conclude, do you have any final message for our audience about the history and this mystical story of Genghis Khan?
Well, a lot of people see Mongol history of that period through the lens of the earlier centuries of writing about the Mongols, often Eurocentric, often seen from the distance, and often seen by the eyes of a scholar from the sedentary civilization looking at the nomads. And until recently, people were thinking, okay, nomads does not have culture, nomads does not have legal system, etc. But now, when just maybe in the 20th century, we started looking back into this history and trying to understand that greatness of this man and his legacy throughout the history, both in terms of culture, economy, military, and in all these senses. So in my opinion, well, foreigners, when they are coming to Mongolia, when they will be visiting, you see, being nomad, it doesn't mean that people don't have a tradition. It's just different. That sedentary civilization has. And for example, as I told you earlier, Roman legal system has been created, which enabled the Roman Empire to sustain maybe 1,000 years, and Mongolian legal system, Great Yasa, has been created, which was followed for another 7 centuries, but today we don't have Great Yasa in written. It was inherited through oral tradition from generation to generation, etc. So I would say that Mongolia holds a lot of surprises, a lot of knowledge, and in way of understanding different people. You know, that people different doesn't mean that people inferior to you. Mongols of the 13th century, they did understand that, and we cannot be inferior to the people who lived 800 years before us. We should have at least a vision of that size to understand. But if you see today's world, how people look at each other differently because of the difference of race, because of the difference of nationality, difference of religion, etc. So I believe that when you come to Mongolia, you will see that difference doesn't matter, and Mongolia offers you a new vision of understanding the different societies, different lives in different civilizations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this fascinating insight and also invaluable message that's very important for nowadays, in present day. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing these profound insights into the life and legacy of Genghis Khan. Thank you for joining us on Timeless Mongolia. Stay tuned for more stories from the heart of Mongolia.